Hi. Well, we're well overdue for a Budo video, that is a video about martial arts. Um, so if you're not interested in that subject, this is going to be that video, so you should probably turn off and watch one of our other videos. Um, the subject today is Keppan, and I promised a few people on the channel who follow the channel a while ago that I'd talk about this. I think it's an excellent subject to talk about. So, what is Keppan, and what is bad about it, and what is good about it? Okay, that's what we're about today. Um, so, Keppan, I should first of all say uh, that this word has multiple connotations in contemporary Japanese society. The connotation in which we're talking about it is its traditional connotation as it relates to Japanese history and as it relates to what still happens in many Kobudo dojos today. Keppan is done with a knife like this, and cutting of the ring finger, and pushing your fingerprint into a contract of your own blood, basically. I think this is an idea which is basically universal to every culture. Just about every culture in the world, I think, has some sort of concept of a blood contract that you will not break for pain of punishment in some way, whether it be expulsion or lightning striking you, or perhaps even the group coming after you or something like that. And so we can all basically, I think, understand that kind of notion, and that's what Keppan is about and was about traditionally. So it was obviously used by samurai in a group to say, yes, you belong to this group, or we are going to complete this mission, or something like that. That's the context in which it was used. It is still today used in the context of teaching and learning a traditional discipline in Japan, and it's not entirely limited to martial arts in this. It actually can be something which means that you are undertaking an apprenticeship with your teacher, for example, in some traditional art, and you are swearing that you will you'll stick at it until either you master what you're doing or you are released from your contract to continue under that teacher. So it's not entirely something which is limited to traditional Japanese martial art. It can be any art, actually. In traditional Japanese martial art, we're talking usually Kobudo groups that do this, Koru groups that do this. You are not going to come across your local Iaido group doing this, or your local kendo group doing this, or karate dojo or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen. However, entering into traditional Japanese swordsmanship or traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu or something like that, it's quite likely that you'll be asked to do it at some point. And it may be done when someone actually joins the dojo, or it may be done when somebody reaches a certain level or is about to, is possibly to be initiated into another level of teaching, so that to make sure that they don't go showing off what they've learnt to someone else. So the association with with this kind of contract in a Budo setting is that one is saying, I'm going to stay at this dojo, that it's a lifetime association, that I'm a member for life. It's saying I will not, usually it's also saying I will not demonstrate what I've been taught without permission to do so. So I, obviously, I won't teach it to someone unless I'm authorized to teach it to someone, or demonstrate it in public unless I'm authorized to do so, etc. I've achieved a level of authorization. Usually that's the association with Keppan. Now, the downside to that is that this can mean, obviously, that Keppan can be associated with detrimental cultures as well. And it is actually, for many contemporary Japanese, it would be associated with gang culture very strongly. Japanese gangs perform this. When you are entering a Japanese gang, Yakuza gang, this is done in that world. So that's a strong association with it, and therein you walk into the downsides of this. Breaking that contract becomes very, very difficult. So if that group is toxic for some reason, and there are many toxic Buddha groups, I know that through personal experience, breaking that could be very difficult. It could have consequences, mostly that you've agreed that you will never train somewhere else. That would be the biggest consequence of it, that you've agreed you will not train somewhere else. I know of an American who has tried to teach Buddha classes online, and his Keppan oath was actually brought. He was actually sued by the dojo that he trained at by his Japanese teacher, which is an unusual thing in Japan. He was actually legally sued by the fellow, and the Keppan oath that he took when entering the dojo was cited as proof of contract, and they were able to successfully sue the American for teaching Japanese sword when he was not authorized to teach Japanese sword under their name. I think he subsequently continues to teach Japanese sword very badly, I might add. I've seen some of his stuff, etc. He's a problematic individual, but nonetheless he was sued and stopped, and they were able to stop him from using their name and associating himself with the traditional Ruha, which he had attempted to represent himself as a teacher of. And that's a pretty fair outcome. and that brings us to the upside of this. The upside of this is the protection of intellectual property, and that is still rather necessary in today's society. One can argue that it's possibly even more necessary than it's ever been in today's society. I don't think it's a very new problem. Otherwise, Keppan has been around for at least 1200 years as a practice in Japan. I would say that it's actually probably a Stone Age practice, a Paleolithic practice that the upside of it is, as I said, the protection of information, which can be necessary. One runs into people who I had a guy and told me that he was a jiu-jitsu teacher after only about a year and a half of training, and somebody was paying him rather a lot of money to teach jiu-jitsu for them. Obviously quality was not a thing there, because there's no way that, in a year and a half your quality's awesome. And if somebody else is, if you're working for somebody else like it's just a job, then you can probably pretty much bet that the training in that sort of setting is not very good. And that's what you're getting. But, here's a fellow who's gone to training for, with someone in good faith, and then somebody else has come along and said, look, I'll pay you a salary if you'll do that stuff in my gym. So some sort of contract is certainly a reasonable thing today, just as it's always been. So that's about Keppan, really. I just say, as I said, the downside is you better be very careful about the culture of the dojo that you enter. Do they do Keppan? What are the people like, etc. And do you really think that you'll still be doing this in 5 years or 50 years or something with these people? Because if they're unpleasant people, and sometimes, if you're going to walk in the circle of Buddha, you are going to meet unpleasant people. I think most unpleasant people don't have the stamina, the mental and physical stamina for doing the training. But there are some people who try to create a culture around themselves and use that culture to supplant the need for doing the training. And those people can be that can be a highly pathological environment to find yourself in. So do your research. If you are going to join a dojo, do your research about, what those people are like. And, if they're people you like, then there's no problem. If they're aggressive, violent people and you are not an aggressive, violent person, you should not be trying to enter that dojo. There are some relationships that have lifetime consequences once you enter into a contract as a relationship. So be aware of that. Thank you very much. I hope that clears something of the subject around Keppan and what it is and its ups and downs. If you like our video, please hit the button subscribe, like. There's information in the description about how to support us. You know, at the moment we're not, what do you call it, monetized. And quite frankly, it's a little, you know, I would like us not to be supported by Toyota cars anyway, given the nature of the subject that we're doing. So you know, if you personally support the channel, that's a lot better. So thank you very much for watching.